The V8 engine is the power plant of choice for American cars. Cadillac's chief engineer, David McCall White, unleashed America's first mass-produced V8 engine in 1914, the L-head Type 51 V8 engine. Cadillac equipped the Type 51 with a cross-plane crankshaft in 1923, introducing the 90-degree cylinder head offset we have all become familiar with, and more importantly, that signature American V8 rumble. American-made V8 engines are among the best engines from the Big Three. Even today, they continue to use a cross-plane crank setup, which is why they sound so different from their European counterparts, who opted for a flat-plane setup. A flat-plane crankshaft found on a Ferrari causes the engine to operate with an even firing order, bouncing from left to right cylinder banks in an orderly fashion. Meanwhile, the cross-plane American V8 engines feature an uneven firing order, leading to that signature rumble instead of the high RPM whine of the standard European V8. However, in the case of this batch of V8 engines, you should listen more closely, as these are 10 of America's most shockingly unreliable V8 engines. LF9 V8. Top problems: head gaskets, head bolt, rusting fuel system. The Oldsmobile-designed LF9 diesel V8 powered the first diesel passenger vehicles across the GM lineup during 1978. The V8 engine had a 5.7-liter displacement, producing a typical 70s 120 horsepower. Unfortunately, GM rushed the production of the Olds LF9, leaving the V8 engine with catastrophic flaws, such as the carryover head bolt design shared with its gasoline counterpart. They also failed to install a water separator, leaving the LF9 exposed to the poor-quality diesel of the period. LF9 V8 engines consistently failed, causing more trouble than they were worth, whether it be faulty head bolts designed for lower compression gasoline or rusting of the steel fuel system as water particles made their way into the engine block. In addition, multiple class-action lawsuits saw GM refunding up to 80% of engine replacements for suffering consumers. As a result, the Olds V8 swore American consumers off the diesel product for over 30 years. L62 V864. Top problem: computer control module. We can all appreciate Cadillac thinking outside the box, but sadly, its cylinder deactivation system was far ahead of its time. Many customers had the V8 engine's swanky new tech removed, and Cadillac themselves trashed the block in 1984 after a mere 3 years of production. What went wrong? On paper, the electric solenoids installed across cylinders 3, 4, 5, 6 would allow the rocker arms to deactivate cylinders in pairs on the bulky 6.0-liter V8. Allowing your V8 to become a V6 or even a 4-cylinder, as the rocker arms isolated intake exhaust manifolds during operation. Sadly, the ECM, or the engine control module in charge of this process, was not fast enough. Owners reported a jerky ride as the ECM failed to select an appropriate setup for the current driving style. Caddy had jumped the gun with their 150 horsepower V8 and quickly shelved the V8 6.4 for something worse. HT 4100 V8. Top problems: head gasket, coolant leaks, and oil pump failure. Cadillac replaced its awful V8 6.4 engine with the equally dreadful HT 4100. The 4.1-liter high-technology V8 engine appeared on the scene in 1982, armed with a hydraulic roller camshaft to increase durability, as the V8 engine produced a low 135 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque. The HT 4100 could have done a better job of powering Cadillac's 4,000-pound-plus fleets of land yachts. But this was the 80s. The V8 engine featured pricey components in the event of failure. Head gasket issues and coolant leaks were commonplace, but the worst came from Cadillac's choice to use cast-iron head bolts. The cast-iron bolts holding the head together could tear through the soft aluminum engine casing when temperatures began to climb. Is now a good time to reiterate those coolant leaks? Lean burn Chrysler engines. Top problem: ECU and carburetor. Before Chrysler began building unreliable V6 engines, they made the lean burn system across their V8 engines. The lean burn system used 8 external sensors monitoring multiple variables to control the fuel needed, hence running lean. On paper, this is an excellent piece of tech that allowed Chrysler to avoid catalytic converters for a few years across their V8 engine lineup. Sadly, the control module for this tech was primitive, succumbing to the vibrations and temperatures of your typical engine bay and requiring costly repairs, unlike their Hemi offspring of today. However, due to the progressive nature, many mechanics lacked the skills and opted for tearing the system out instead, to which customers obliged. Triton V8. Top problems: timing chain, oil leak. The 2004 Ford Triton 3V variant of the 5.4-liter V8 engine appeared across the F-150, Expedition, and the Mustang muscle car. Unfortunately, if you can hear a knocking sound from the 5.4-liter Triton, you may suffer from its notorious timing chain faults, which can lead to a complete rebuild. RepairPal estimates costs of $1,000+, mainly in labor, when having timing belts replaced on the unruly V8 engine aboard a 2004 F-150. The 5.4-liter V8 can quickly make you regret purchasing a cheap Ford. Further oil pan gasket leaks and ignition problems stalk the Triton 3V engine. Powerstroke V8. Top problem: head gasket. Arriving across the Super Duty range, the 6.0-liter Ford Powerstroke V8 engine wreaked havoc on the blue oval. Although the engine's poor design via Ford's Navistar partners led to Ford spending a pocket-burning $479 million in warranty repairs, the Powerstroke V8 engine represented just 10% of Ford's active engine fleet. Yet they accounted for 80% of their warrantied engine repair costs. Ford even sued Navistar in 2007. By 2011, it had overtaken the Powerstroke V8 range. So what is the problem with the Powerstroke V8? The 325-horsepower 6.0-liter V8 suffers regular oil leaks. Oil pump failure is common, as the EGR coolers are known to block up with sediment. Ford's low-quality gaskets post-2004 redesign only made things worse. However, the worst issue for the Powerstroke V8 is the engine's head bolts, which are known to stretch, allowing coolant to leak into the cylinder housing, leading to head gasket failure. 267 V8. Top problem: isolated components. Chevrolet's worst V8 is the 1979 4.4-liter, taking its basis from the legendary 305 small-block V8 engine. The V8 was to tackle the ongoing emissions restrictions. The tiny V8 engine is relatively reliable. However, the engine shares not a single component with its larger brothers, even featuring a titchy 3.5-inch cylinder bore, meaning owners cannot switch out the heads for the 305 or 350 small block to increase airflow. The 120-horsepower 267 small block lasted just 3 years. After that, GM chose to continue with the 250 and 265 small blocks from Pontiac and Oldsmobile, as the Chevrolet edition failed emission standards. It is a weak V8 and a more challenging project, yielding fewer results due to the lack of interchangeable parts. Powertech V8. Top problem: head gasket. Chrysler's first-generation Powertech block is the 4.7-liter V8 engine, which first appeared on the 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Chrysler replaced the outgoing AMC-developed 4.0-liter straight-six with the inbound Powertech V8 engine, sometimes called the 4.7-liter Magnum. The Powertech V8 is one of the worst Mopar engines of all time. The unreliable V8 receives a double blow when matching its tendency to leak coolant with its cheap head gaskets. As a result, the 1999 Jeep Grand Cherokee suffered a shocking 14 recalls to date, no thanks to the leaky Powertech V8 on board. Detroit V8. Top problem, crankshaft. Chevrolet unleashed the Detroit V8 with partners Detroit Diesel in 1992. The predominantly turbocharged diesel V8 engine appeared across some of America's most unreliable SUV models, such as the 90s Chevy Blazer, all the way up to the military-grade AM General High Mobility multi-purpose wheeled vehicle. Among the unruly V8 engine's many issues were its injection pumps. Early models featured Stanadyne DB2 mechanical fuel injection systems, whereas later models received the unreliable DS4 electrical pump known to fail, as recognized by GM's extended warranty on the component. However, the worst is yet to come. Owners of the 6.5-liter Detroit diesel should inspect the harmonic balancer located at the end of their crankshaft. Any sign of rubber wear or deformation of the component will leave your diesel V8 engine susceptible to vibrations, ultimately breaking the $585 crankshaft. Ford Flathead V8. Top problem, cooling system. Making its debut in 1932, the Ford Flathead V8 is the first mass-produced Ford V8 engine, spanning between 1932 to 1953. The engine's simplistic nature saw it rise from a 65-horsepower 3.6-liter to a 120-horsepower growling beast when Ford retired the simplistic flat-face block in 1953. The Flathead is one of Ford's most important creations, making the V8 engine affordable. Sadly, the Ford Flathead is a highly unreliable V8 engine by design. Ford placed the intake and exhaust valves next to the cylinder head, forcing airflow to perform two 90-degree turns before reaching the engine. As a result, Ford's iconic V8 engine could not perform at high speeds for long periods, and the Flatty was notorious for overheating, despite being a hot rodder's favorite. Well, there you have it, 10 American V8 engines that constantly break down. Have we missed any more? What engines did you think should be in this list instead? Comment down below and let's discuss. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button to keep you updated on our future uploads. Until then, I'll catch you on the next one.